They sleep up to 22 hours a day. They eat leaves that would be toxic to almost any other creature, and their babies are born so tiny, so impossibly small that they could fit on a teaspoon. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the nature's most fascinating stories, the complete reproductive journey of a koala. From the thunderous bellows of male during mating season to the incredibly movement of a blind, hairless joy the size of a jelly bean crawls entirely on its own into its mother pouch. This is a story full of surprises. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you will never look at the koala the same way again. Let's get into it.
To understand koala reproduction, we have to start with the season that sets everything in motion, breeding season. In Australia, seasons are flipped from the northern hemisphere. While people in Europe and North America are heading into autumn and winter, Australia is warming up into spring and summer. And for koalas, this time of year, roughly September through March, is when everything changes. The koalas that spent most of the year quietly dozing in their eucalyptus trees suddenly become restless. Territorial, driven by instinct, and the most dramatic change, the males. Adult male koalas have a large scent gland on the center of their chest, a dark, oily patch that you can actually see if you look closely. During breeding season, males rub this gland against trees to mark their territory. Think of it like posting a sign that says, "I'm here, I'm strong, and this is my space." But the scent marking is just the beginning. What really signals the start of breeding season is the sound. Male koalas produce one of the most unexpected sounds in the animal kingdom, a deep, rumbling bellow. Imagine something between a snore, a burp, and a lion's roar coming from an animal the size of a medium dog. It sounds almost comical, but for female koalas and rival males, it's a very serious message. These bellows travel long distances through the forest, announcing the male's presence, his size, and his fitness. Research has shown that females can actually judge the body size of a male just from the sound of his bellow. The bigger the male, the deeper and more attractive the call. So for the next several months, the Australian bush echoes with these calls, and the competition for mating rights begins. Now, courtship is a word that brings to mind romantic gestures, birds displaying colorful feathers, frogs singing love songs by a pond. Koala courtship is the little different. Once a male has identified the general area of a female, through scent trails and vocalizations, he begins to close in. He's not subtle about it. He moves through the trees with purpose, following the chemical signals she leaves behind. When he finally locates her, the approach is direct. There's no elaborate dance, no gift of food. The male moves toward the female and essentially makes his intentions clear immediately. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The female has all the power in this moment. If she is receptive, if her hormones are at the right stage and she finds the male acceptable, she will allow him to approach and eventually mate. But if she's not ready, or if she's simply not interested in this particular male, she makes that known too. A disinterested female koala will growl, snap, scratch, or simply climb away from the male. If he persists too aggressively, she may actually fight back. Researchers who study koala behavior in the wild note that koala courtship can look quite rough compared to many mammals. It's not uncommon for there to be a significant size difference between the male and female, which makes the female's resistance all the more remarkable. It's also worth noting that female koalas are selective, and for good reason. The genes her joey inherits will determine its survival. Choosing a strong, healthy male matters. Females may encounter multiple males during a single breeding season, and they don't simply accept the first one to arrive. In areas with higher koala population densities, a female might be approached by several males, and competition between males can become physical, with males pushing, chasing, and vocalizing against each other in the treetops. When mating does occur, it happens up in the trees, which makes it quite different from most land mammals. Koalas spend nearly their entire lives in the eucalyptus canopy, and they don't make an exception for reproduction. The male mounts the female while both are perched in the branches, an impressive feat of balance, given that these animals are clinging to tree limbs the whole time. Copulation itself is relatively brief, typically lasting just a few minutes. But what happens in those minutes sets off one of the most remarkable developmental journeys in the entire animal kingdom. One important detail worth noting: a female koala does not necessarily mate with just one male during a breeding season. She may mate with multiple males across the season, which means that in any given pregnancy, paternity can sometimes be uncertain. This is actually common in many marsupial species and contributes to genetic diversity within koala populations. After mating, the male may stay nearby for a short time before moving on, driven by instinct to find other females and maximize his reproductive success. Meanwhile, the female's body begins a process that is, frankly, astonishing. Fertilization in koalas is internal, just like in humans and other mammals. After mating, sperm fertilizes an egg, and the resulting embryo begins to develop in the female's uterus. Here's where koala biology takes a dramatic turn from what most of us learned in school. Koalas are marsupials, a group of mammals that includes kangaroos, wombats, possums, and the Tasmanian devil. And marsupials have a reproductive strategy that is fundamentally different from placental mammals like us. In a human pregnancy, a baby develops inside the womb for approximately 9 months, sustained by a placenta that delivers nutrients and oxygen directly from the mother's body. In koalas, the gestation period, the time spent developing in the womb, is only 33 to 35 days. That's just over a month. You might be wondering, how is that possible? How can something as complex as a baby mammal develop in just 35 days? The answer is that it doesn't, not fully. A koala joey is born at an extremely early stage of development, far earlier than any placental mammal. The womb's job is just to get the joey started. The real development happens somewhere else entirely, and that's where the pouch comes in. The birth of a koala joey is one of the most extraordinary events in the natural world, and almost no one ever sees it happen. After just 35 days of gestation, the joey is born. And the word born almost feels like an overstatement, because what emerges is barely recognizable as an animal. The newborn joey is approximately 2 centimeters long. To give you a sense of scale, that's roughly the size of a large grape. It weighs less than 1 gram. It has no fur. Its eyes are sealed shut. Its ears are not yet developed. Its hind legs are little more than stumps. By every visible measure, it looks unfinished. Because it is. But here's the miracle. That tiny, underdeveloped creature has one thing going for it that is remarkably well developed for its stage: its forelimbs. The joey's front legs and claws are strong and functional from the moment of birth. And it needs them immediately, because the moment it enters the world, it faces its first and perhaps most dangerous challenge. The joey must crawl, entirely on its own, with no assistance from its mother, from the birth canal, through the mother's fur and into her pouch. The mother does very little to help. She may lick a path through her fur, but the journey is the joey's alone, using its powerful forelimbs in a swimming, crawling motion, guided entirely by its sense of smell, because remember, its eyes don't work yet. The joey navigates upward through the fur until it finds the opening of the pouch. This journey takes only a few minutes, but it is one of the most critical moments of the joey's life. If it fails to reach the pouch, it will not survive. Once inside the pouch, the joey latches onto one of 2 teats. The teat then swells slightly inside the joey's mouth, creating a secure attachment that will hold for weeks. The joey cannot let go even if it wanted to. It is literally locked on, receiving a constant supply of milk as it continues to develop. Think about that for a moment. A creature that was barely larger than a grape just navigated through fur using only its sense of smell and muscle memory, found an opening it has never seen, and secured itself to a life support system, all within minutes of being born. Nature, at its most extraordinary. Safe inside the pouch, the joey begins the real work of developing into a koala. For approximately 6 months, the pouch is the joey's entire world. It's warm, protected, and nourishing. And over those months, the transformation is remarkable. In the first weeks, the joey is entirely focused on feeding and growing. The milk it receives changes composition over time. Marsupial milk is not static. As the joey develops, the teat it's attached to produces milk with different nutritional profiles, perfectly calibrated to the joey's changing needs. This is something even human baby formula cannot fully replicate. The mother's body literally adjusts the recipe as her joey grows. By around 2 months, the joey begins to grow its first coat of fine fur. The body, once pink and almost translucent, starts to take on the gray-brown coloring of an adult koala. By 3 to 4 months, the joey's ears begin to develop, and those iconic round, fluffy ears start to take shape. Its face starts to look more distinctly koala-like, the large nose, the wide-set eyes beginning to form properly beneath their still-sealed lids. Around 4 to 5 months, the joey's eyes finally open. For the first time, it can perceive light, though it won't actually see the outside world for a few more weeks. By 6 months, the joey is recognizably a koala. Still small, still dependent, but with all the features intact: the fur, the eyes, the nose, the claws. The pouch has done its job. Now it's time for the next stage. Around 6 to 7 months, something shifts in the joey's behavior. It starts to get curious. A little head begins to poke out from the pouch, eyes wide, taking in the world of trees and sky and rustling leaves for the very first time. At this stage, the joey begins making short excursions out of the pouch, climbing onto its mother's chest or belly, gripping her fur, riding along as she moves through the trees. The pouch is still home base, and the joey retreats back into it when it needs rest or milk. But now comes another critical and fascinating stage of development, one that is unique to koalas among all the marsupials. Koalas, as most people know, eat eucalyptus leaves. What many people don't know is that eucalyptus is actually toxic. The leaves contain phenolic compounds and terpenes that would make most animals very sick. Koalas can tolerate them because of specialized bacteria in their digestive system, bacteria that break down the toxins. But a joey isn't born with those bacteria. It has to acquire them, and the way it does is unusual. The mother produces a special substance called pap. Pap is essentially partially digested eucalyptus, a soft, soupy material that comes from the mother's cecum, a part of the digestive system, and is passed out of her body. The joey eats the pap directly. Yes, the joey eats its mother's droppings. Before you cringe, understand what this achieves. The pap is rich with the exact microbial communities the joey needs to colonize its own gut. By consuming the pap, the joey inoculates itself with the bacteria that will allow it to eat eucalyptus for the rest of its life. It's one of the most elegant solutions in nature, a mother literally passing on the biological tools her offspring will need to survive. Over the next few months, the joey gradually transitions from milk and pap to eating solid eucalyptus leaves alongside its mother. It learns which species of eucalyptus to prefer, how to select the right leaves, and how to navigate the trees. It's an education conducted entirely by proximity, the joey watching, mimicking, and learning simply by being close to its mother. By around 12 months of age, the joey is fully independent. It no longer rides on its mother. It no longer drinks her milk. It feeds entirely on eucalyptus, navigates the trees on its own, and establishes its own home range, a territory it will defend and inhabit. For females, independence is often a gentler transition. A young female may establish a range near her mother's, and some researchers have observed mothers and daughters sharing overlapping territories. For males, independence often means dispersal, moving further away in search of new territory and eventually competing in their own first breeding season. The mother, meanwhile, is already preparing for her next joey. Female koalas typically give birth to 1 joey per year, though environmental conditions, food availability, and her own health can affect this. In ideal conditions, a healthy female may successfully raise a joey every year throughout her reproductive life. When you consider that koalas live to around 10 to 15 years in the wild, and that females can breed for much of that time, a single female koala might successfully raise 8, 10, or even more joeys across her lifetime, each one starting that same extraordinary journey, a tiny crawl through the dark into the warmth of the pouch, and eventually out into the treetops. From a bellow echoing through the Australian bush to a joey no bigger than a jelly bean finding its way through fur guided only by smell, koala reproduction is a story of instinct, precision, and quiet wonder. These animals have been perfecting this process for millions of years. And yet today, koala populations across Australia are under serious pressure from habitat loss, disease, climate change, and drought. Understanding how koalas reproduce isn't just fascinating, it's essential to protecting them.
If you learned something new today, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about the natural world. Subscribe if you haven't already and drop a comment below what surprised you most about koala reproduction. For me, it's still that crawl every time. See you in the next one.